So, as I reflect on this semester, I first of all can't believe just how fast the semester really went. But when looking at where do I see improvement specifically, I see improvement just in firstly my overall enjoyment of writing. Having to do a journal every single week kind of really opened my eyes about how beneficial a journal can be. Most of our journals were, assignment based, but they allowed for self-reflection mainly. I was able to express my feelings in a way that was open, and I was just able to express how I felt doing certain assignments. And then it just made me think that, I can journal in different parts of my life, not just academically, but also outside of school. I see improvement as well with my ability to take criticism and implement change given to me from my peers about how to make my essays better. I really relied heavily on feedback from not only you, but also from my peers as well. All of those together made me see my writing from a different point of view. And because of all the critiques that I got, I was able to implement them in my writing and make it better. So that kind of leads into how my writing process has changed. Before this semester, I would just write my essay. I would write a first draft. I would make sure it made sense grammatically, and I would turn it in. And I didn't care to do any more than that. But with this class, I've learned the importance of making an outline first, kind of pre-drafting, then making a first draft that was strong, and then ultimately leaving it up to my peers to critique it, and realize that they're not coming after me, or they're not trying to insult me in their remarks about my essay, but they're trying to help it become even better. So then after not only my peers review my essays, but I was able to look at other people's essays, and I learned about different writing styles that weren't mine, or different ways to say certain things, and all those combined helped me make my writing stronger. I would implement some of their wording or some of their word choices into my essays to make it better, but ultimately I learned that peer review is something that can greatly make my writing better. Then finally, I not only did I listen to the feedback, but I implemented change. I didn't just blow off the critiques that they gave me, and I was able to implement them into a final draft and make it even stronger. So, when we think about how my writing process has changed, it's now I actually developed a writing process and I didn't have before. Going from one draft and done to now pre-drafting, rough draft, revisions, final draft. Some of my strengths and my weaknesses that I have found out. Some of my strengths is it used to be a weakness, which was taking critique. It's now become a strength, and I love hearing how I can make my writing better. A weakness that I have is I still kind of struggle with just getting started. As I make my first draft, I really want my first draft to be my last draft. I want to make my first draft as best as it could possibly be. So I'm constantly thinking of, what's the best word choice? Or how can I make this sound really good? When in reality, I just need to start writing. It's called a rough draft for a reason. It's not meant to be a final draft, but I still struggle just getting started. And, I've gotten better, but it's still just a weakness. So, overall, I plan on continuing my writing, because the only way that you can truly get better at something is to continuously do it. So even after this semester, I still plan on, keeping a journal, writing consistently. And in the future, when I write more academic essays, I'll plan on using this writing process that I have developed in this class.